Yo! Welcome to the DeathHammer podcast, episode number 4, with me and Johnny.
Yo.
This week we have a special guest from Aberdeen who plays in a little band called Glass Monkey. His name is Euan Pirie. Want to say hello?
Hello, guys.
We had a talk about Aberdeen, about how Scottish pop punk's a dead meme, and a lot of fun stuff. So, some technical difficulties near the end, maybe. Please bear with it. But we have a really good half hour, well, not even half hour, it's like an hour long chat. It's a pretty good episode, so hope you enjoy having a listen to it, and it should be coming up right now. So, you want to kind of discuss how you started Glass Monkey and who your influences were, kind of how some of the first sort of music you started listening to, what inspired you to do what you wanted to do.
Well, not many people know this. We actually started the band back in 2013.
Ooh.
Yeah, a very long time ago. I wasn't actually in the band at this point. It was a completely different lineup. Jake and Steven are the founding members. They
Alright.
started it. They started it together, so they must have been in fourth year at school, which is, so I guess 15, 16. I I was probably just learning guitar at this point, so and then I wasn't really sure if I was going to get into music and that until I joined the band, and then since then it's just been a full music career. But yeah, we started in 2013, and it's been a load of lineup changes since. Like, we were playing covers and that. We played some farmer's birthday party. It was set up in this massive barn, and there was all these drunk farmers, and they were asking for this song called "Hit the Diff," and it makes no sense whatsoever, but they were absolutely raving for it. But then the farmer guy, he was absolutely loaded. He just kept handing out, like, "Oh, play this again, play this again." It's like £100 every time. I was like, "Fuck, okay." But yeah,
Man, I need to start playing some farmer shows. Like that's where the
we get
coins
his
at.
number.
and yeah. So then I guess 2-3 years ago, Scott joined the band. We kind of, for a good while we were a three-piece, but we were doing that kind of thing. I was going through, like, me and Jake were both playing guitar, but I was going through bass amp as well and using an octave pedal. Didn't work, but yeah. And then Scott joined after that. After I was like to Stephen, like, we need a bassist, like, we need one. And Scott, yeah, like most bassists, Scott didn't actually play bass or own a bass. And then I was like, oh, we've got one, don't worry. And then the rest is history.
I think that's something I wanted to say as well. Like, we're both bassists, Johnny. And did you own a bass before you joined Below the Neck?
I actually didn't want to be I actually wanted to be a drummer initially. I just lack a lot of talent to be able to do anything musical. So I was like, right, what takes the least amount of talent that I can just maybe kind of like put effort in and learn it that way? And it was the bass. And I did try learn guitar, and, like, I can play rhythm guitar like decently. I feel like once you've played in bands for a few years or something like that, you just kind of you get to that level where you want to be able to play. Like, if I listen to a Chili song, or if I listen to, like, a Turnstile song, or if I listen to any kind of band, it might not be the most technical song, but I would just like to be able to look at the tabs and be like, okay, can I at least play the bass to this?
Yeah.
And I just found I could play the bass to most of the songs that I liked, and that's how I ended up being a bassist. But I never was like, yeah, I want to be the bassist in a band, because that's like saying, like, yeah, I want to be, I want to get the silver medal at the Olympics. It's
I had the
no
weird
offense to any
mentality
bassists out there, but that's just how it be sometimes.
I wanted to be a rhythm guitarist for ages, and that's why I practiced so much. And I was like, well, if you can play rhythm guitar, how about being bassist? And I was like, no, I don't own a bass, don't want to do it. And Chris is like, I'll give you this Ibanez bass if you do it. And I'm like, alright, okay. So that's a white Ibanez bass I used was actually Chris's. I just didn't use it. And then one day I got a TAC rebate, and I was in Sound and Vision in Elgin, and there was like a blue Fender on the wall, and I was like, that is mine. And I've used it ever since. It's been the fucking tits. But like you were saying, it took you a while to get to your current lineup. So how long did that actually take from, like, the three priests to getting yourself to the lineup that we all know now? How long was that, like?
Yeah, that would have taken that's a good question. About 2 years. I want to say. Yeah, it's about 2-3 years, I guess. We were kind of stuck at that lineup. It still wasn't strictly pop punk stuff. Like we had no idea, and it was actually, I was like 15 and I still didn't know what emo was or anything like that, and which is kind of weird. But I guess it was Stephen was like, "Oh, just come to this gig," and it was at Tunnels. It was As It Is at Tunnels when they first released their first album was just out, and after that, because it was With Confidence who were supporting as well.
Nice.
And yeah, after that I was like, wow, let's do that instead. So then yeah, and then we kind of did that for a bit. We had a couple like kind of pop punk songs, and then but I think it wasn't really working with like the two guitarists. So once we got Scott in, like we managed to get something rolling ever since, I guess. But yeah, it took a while, I guess, finding the sound that we wanted. Yeah.
One of the things I've always found intriguing about you guys is, do all of you do vocals? Pretty much all of you do vocals.
Pretty much all of us. I would say, I would say I do the most. But
Yeah.
all of us do vocals. We all, I guess we all kind of do a bit of singing. We all have our own songs, kind of.
That was going to be like my next question was like, do the vocals kind of depend on who's written the song kind of thing, or is it a little bit mix and match?
Yes and no. I mean, like there's a load of the songs. I think with My Sotis, for example, it was actually the first song Scott brought in to like for us to kind of jam with, and he basically recorded it. Like he took 5 hours or something making the whole instrumental part in one day when he was meant to be doing other stuff. But he was just saying, so he recorded the whole rhythm part, like on his phone, put it through speaker, and then recorded the lead part on top. So it sounded really shit. But I was kind of like, once I heard it, I was like, yeah, that's it. And then we kept playing it, learned it, and then he was like, can I do the singing for it? And I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And then following from that, it was Granite States, which me and Scott also kind of share the vocals on. So we kind of got like, it's a bit like we share the vocals there between us for a few songs. And then Stephen kind of, he obviously wrote Shark Tooth, which is a very personal song towards him. Yeah, so I guess it does depend who writes it, but we've also kind of got the attitude now that if we think someone is better at singing it, we should just go for it. Just depending on what kind of vibe it is and what kind of song it is. Yeah.
Totally. So when you finally got the lineup that you were happy with, what was the first show you played together after you were this Glass Monkey that we know now? I don't know why I did quotation marks. You want to see that in the audio, but I did quotation marks. Now that you've changed.
Have you ever gone by another name than Glass? Like, were you always Glass Monkey right from the start, or?
Well, yeah, it was always Glass Monkey. It was. Jake's a strange person. He was at an airport and he saw the back of a woman's jumper. It said Silver Tiger, and he was like, "Huh, Glass Monkey's a good name." And that's it.
I love how he gets something completely different from Silver Tiger. You know?
We've no idea where the name came from or anything like that, but it's always been Glass Monkey. And turns out, actually, if you look up an Urban Dictionary, I'm pretty sure it's still there, but Glass Monkey is actually another term for a bong. So,
well, it is now. You know.
But yeah. So our first show when we were first a 4-piece. Well, like our second time around with Scott. Funny that it was actually the Lemon Tree. It was some weird showcase thing. Like it was some label through the college in Aberdeen that was starting out, and it didn't really take off, but they got the Lemon Tree for this gig, and we were like, wow, let's do it. And it was a good experience, but it was also a lot of fun to kind of introduce everyone like the new lineup, um, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Great sound as well.
Pretty good place to do it, the Lemon Tree. You could have picked like a better venue to kind of start the new. Like, that's a pretty ace chance. Like, it's after that you guys obviously started writing songs and that, and then you came up with a EP that, if you're familiar with you guys, that you'll probably know. You want to kind of talk about the recording process of your first EP and what followed.
Yeah, so our first EP, it was with Neon Lights, which everyone knows. We recorded this at the college as well. It was two guys, Callum Miller and Tony. I can't remember his last name. Anyways, they both took us on board for their project and also recorded us, and they were like they're really sound. So we got it all free in the end, which was a bonus.
That's good.
Nice.
And they were also learning as well. But Callum was also really good at kind of. He was like, I want you to sound good, so it's not just about me. I want you to sound good. So that was also really good. But yeah, so that was kind of the recording process for that. We also, our cover of Grace Kelly we did as well with Callum in his bedroom, and we also have our own practice space, which is literally just around the corner from me because Stephen's grandparents they have their practice space, so they live around the corner from me, so I just have to walk around to practice, which is great. But we recorded the drums there as well and got a really decent sound. So
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, so we've been pretty lucky, and then obviously we kind of like moving forward to like the second EP, we wanted to splash out a bit more. So I guess I think most like people like indie bands and that, they were going to this guy Mark Morrow in Edinburgh, and yeah, we weren't sure what to expect, but no, we loved every minute of it, and it was definitely worth spending a lot more on it because we try to keep them like we've got a band account, so like all the money we make from merch and gigs, it goes into this account, so we've got stuff like money to record with in the future. But yeah,
No, I mean,
I think-
on you go.
No, I was just gonna say that you can totally tell from the first EP to the second EP there was a lot different process in it. Did you actually go down to like a studio in Edinburgh, or was it like parts recorded up here and parts recorded down there, then sent over and stuff? Or
yeah, no, we actually went down to Edinburgh a good few times. Like there was a lot of laughs because it was kind of like the first time we'd been going down in a car to like another city, and yeah, the amount of shenanigans we got up to ridiculous. But yeah, and it was the best story was when Jake was thinking that he was wondering if a plane flew so low would it get through the Forth Road Bridge. No, like
It's a valid question, you know. Like,
I mean, yeah, fair enough. At the time, we were kind of like, "Oh, Jake, watch out for that plane. Is it going to go through? Is it going to make it?" But yeah, no. We went down to Edinburgh a good few times. It was a lot of early mornings because it was like the whole day in Edinburgh basically, and then driving back up. But no, it was a good experience being in like a proper studio for us, and like almost is pretty much getting it professionally recorded.
Yeah.
And a good experience from that.
have you guys I've seen you guys play Inverness, I've seen you guys play Aberdeen, but obviously I've not seen you guys play outside of those venues. Where's the kind of furthest venue that you've played away from home, kind of thing?
So last year we played in Halifax.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was it was a nice gig actually. It was so it was all kind of linked to Sharktooth, our song. So it's about one of Stephen's close friends who sadly passed away, and they put a festival every year on his birthday, called Richfest, and it was raising money for the special needs school they have there. So they set up this gig space outside the school, and this was actually the last one we were playing So we got the chance. We went down to Halifax, played this gig, a lot of fun, and it was really nice because there was kids from the school who were also playing. They didn't have a music department when they first started the festival, and then over time they've done it. This was his 21st birthday, I think it was. So I guess it was about 10 years or something. The festival's been going on for, but they managed to build a whole music department, buy all these instruments and that for the kids there. Yeah, so it was a really nice sentiment, and we had a great time at the same time. But yeah, that was our furthest we've gone, Halifax. We had other plans this year before COVID came running in.
Yeah,
But
it's a bit of a shocker to the system, like. But so I mean, we kind of struggle, you know, being in hardcore, playing shows outside of our own local scene. You know, I take it with pop punk, it's probably a little bit different. It's got a little bit more of a wider appeal. You know, especially if you're not doing any kind of aggressive vocals, it's definitely got that wide appeal. So have you found that playing outside kind of like your hometown and all that kind of stuff has it been difficult? Has it been hard to kind of get shows, or have you found it quite easy to get on bills with other pop punk bands, you know, outside of Aberdeen?
It's interesting because like I would say I don't know if I count you guys, Jacob, but we're pretty much the only pop punk band in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Like there's Dude Trips, kind of pop punk. There used to be so many. There was Campfires,
totally.
obviously, and then there was a band called Set for September. They're kind of an easycore band. Like they were absolutely amazing. Other than that, there's really not much else going. So we struggled to kind of fit in on lineups anyway most of the time in Aberdeen. So it was kind of like when we first like met you guys, Jacob, and then kind of like moved, like it felt like it was a dream having playing with another pop
Totally.
band. Yeah. I guess it is easy. I guess I would say it's easier getting gigs outside because there's more pop punk bands than there is in Aberdeen, obviously. But yeah, it was like I say, once we met the guys in This Life, it was a dream having another pop punk band to play with.
It does
So
make it.
how did you guys actually find us, by the way? I've always wondered that. I don't think I've ever asked you.
Well, it was a weird. It just came up on Facebook. It was like pop punk band from Bucky, and I was like, oh, my granny stays near there. Didn't even know. It was, yeah, my granny stays in Port Soy, which is
Okay.
yeah,
Literally,
and then yeah,
2
so
minutes away from me.
yeah, so it was. You came up and I was like, well, this is interesting. Like I'd never heard of you guys or anything like or knew any of you. So, and then you released your EP, and I listened to it. I was like, this is sick. Like, genuinely sick. There's another pop punk band, and then it was the funny thing. Like when you guys got the gig with Woes, I was like, oh, I don't know if they'll play with us. They've kind of made it big time already.
I wish you could have been at that show. You would have just been like, we don't want them.
Hitting up the big time, Jacob.
Actually, listening to the other episodes of this podcast, and you're on about it, I was like, oh wow. I thought it was like, oh whoa, wow. But no, of course, when you guys did come and play, it was a lot of fun.
I want to speak about that show as well. That show was so much fun. We just got a message from Euan on Facebook, and it was like, really like you guys. We're having, I don't know, was it like a single? Was it the EP release, or was it? It was kind of like a, or maybe like it had been out for a year or something at that point. I can't actually remember.
It was just another gig. Like so our first headline was earlier that year, which was kind of our EP launch, even though our EP wasn't out then, and we were not sure what was going to happen for this gig. Like we had no idea. We were just kind of like, if 10 people show up, great. And then it was sold out, and then also like Tom's is only 80 cap, and it ended up cramming in 110 people. It was mental. It was the most, and it was like the first ever mosh pits we had. Like, I've never seen one that like. Yeah. Anyways. And then this other gig, we were like, let's put another one on. So, yeah, which also sold out, which was great. But we made it ticketed, so it wasn't quite, like, it wasn't as packed as 110. But yeah, we put on this gig, like, it was another yeah, just another headline. And but we also wanted to kind of put on bands that maybe people haven't heard before, like yourselves. We also got Sonorous from Dundee, who are like this melodic metalcore kind of band. Who they came up before and played, but they were like, we absolutely loved their sound. We were like, come play with us again. And then there's another band from
New Kings.
yeah, New Kings, yeah, our uni mates. So they just started out as well, so they came and played too. But yeah, no, it was it was all. The funny story I remember from that is Chris, your guitarist, who got absolutely hammered and passed out in Scott's bed. I went back to Scott's after clearing stuff away, and there was Chris just lying there in the bed, and then like 10 seconds, like we were all through playing drinking games and whatnot. And then came back, and then there he was just lying over the toilet, like, yeah, fine. Just like throwing up his guts. But yeah, no, that gig was just, but no, I was very happy to have got you guys on board, because I wasn't sure what it was going to be like, but like it paid off.
It was like you said, it was the first time we'd ever seen anyone move to our music. Like, we had played shows and that, and people had like moved about and like bopped and were like, this is ace. But like, I remember we were playing Stereo Hearts. Well, I called for a mosh pit, and somebody went, if you play a heavier song, we will. And I went, oh, good thing this is the heaviest song we got. And we played Stereo Hearts, and as soon as it happened, like, someone got launched right into my bass amp and head first. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And we just played harder and harder as the song went on. Eventually, I just dropped the bass and just like jumped in the crowd. We had like 5 members, so I was like, I can afford to do it now. But then that gig was so crazy, and we went a while, we were just like, what the fuck happened? Like, we were like, most people we had played in front of was like 10 people, 15, 20 people, and go and play in front of like 90 people crammed into this practice space gold. It was like, what the fuck? We had to really learn about like how to control a crowd, how to like put on a show, like just on the fly. But and then we watched you guys play, and you just came out like the sombreros and everything. I think it was sombreros. And
Why was I not at this show?
No.
It was barbershop quartet hats.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, and we kept like, because what we did like with the 4 vocalists, we kind of we started, it was our song Fake News. We started it this a cappella thing, like brought on the hats, and then like we kind of started the chorus like that, and then just threw them off, and bam, just went crazy. But when you're saying someone went head first in their bass amp, I'm sure that would have been one of the Bitterwood lot. I'm pretty sure, because they were at that show.
We were just talking about how somebody went headfirst into a fucking monitor at a Bitterwood show. It seems like these Bitterwood boys have a hard time falling into amps, you know?
Yeah.
It was
Will,
such
like,
a crazy experience.
Jumping off walls. Will's probably going to get the next part of Spider-Man. Like the amount of times he jumps, like spins about and all that.
But no, so I played in a pop punk band maybe like 4 years ago, but we found it so hard to like, you know, pull in crowds that, you know, we see you guys kind of pull in, whether it's In This Life or Glass Monkey and all that kind of stuff. And obviously we kind of play the heavier side of things, and we both played that show in Fraserburgh, which I'll always laugh at that one, just because it was like, you guys were so, to be fair to Bleach, they kind of tied in the two genres quite well. You know, it kind of went from like a couple of pop punk bands, you know, to a punk band, then to like a fucking crazy hardcore band. But no, it was good, and what I really liked was that you guys in Glass Monkey all stuck around as well. I mean, in This Life, you know, we'd kind of met you guys before, so it was, you know, we knew you were going to stick about. But when we first met you, and you know, you seemed like you enjoyed it, I was like, wow, I didn't realize there was this kind of crossover. And then it worked the same way though, because when you guys came to play Inverness for your headline show, you had all the people that would usually be there for all the kind of hardcore shows in Inverness, you know, like. So I feel like, as much as these genres are very, I wouldn't say opposite, but, you know, like, one's very kind of major and one's very kind of minor sounding. So I mean, to see you guys incorporate, be able to play those kind of shows, I think it's a good thing, and I want to see more of those kind of shows, kind of going on.
Yeah, it takes me back. There's what was it? It was Wake the Dean when that was still going ahead. Like they had a, I think it was a pop punk v metalcore hardcore.
Yeah, I went to that, man.
Did you go to that?
I went to that. That was shit.
This was when I had no idea about these kind of things. And I saw the lineup for it. I was like, Jesus Christ, what is going on? But no, that Fraserburgh show was fun. I wasn't actually meant to go out afterwards, and I ended up staying at AJ's and met his mum for the first time after. And then we got up the next morning, and it was Sean and Jamie from Dude Trips. They came and met us at Spoons. We were having Spoons breakfast, and then we went back to the Bala, had another pint, and played pool. It was crazy. Just after the stuff that happens after gigs is crazy for us anyway. But no, the crossover. I mean, one thing I will say that we try to do is we want to include more genres. We all listen to. We don't just listen to pop punk. We all listen to so much. Like Jake is very much into his techno and dancey kind of music. Scott, you'll go from this prog metal stuff to pop punk to Lana Del Rey. And then I'm pretty much just who did I see? A couple of years ago I saw Attila. And they were a lot of fun. But yeah, basically our music tastes are so broad. We want to include more genres, and we want to kind of make this new side of pop punk that maybe no one has really heard of before. Because I'm all for including breakdowns in songs. Every time we're doing new songs, why don't we put a breakdown there? And they're like, no, please, not another.
I always find that struggle between trying to get your stuff sounding heavy without alienating the people that hate heavy kind of stuff, because I used to be that way inclined, where I was like, oh, I like this kind of breakdown riff, and then scream vocals would come in and I'd be like, oh, that sounds shit, and that's really embarrassing now for me to be calling scream vocals shit, unless they were shit scream vocals. But I just didn't appreciate the aggression within that kind of stuff. And you do see it a lot more now in some pop punk bands that just have an aggressive style in their vocals. Like The Story So Far, I love them. Neck Deep as well, they've got that kind of semi-rasp. It's more kind of they're shouting rather than singing the whole time. And I really like that kind of stuff. And I think that music is kind of, I wouldn't say it's getting all heavier, but it's getting more broad. You find that each genre of music starts to incorporate little bits of everything else, and I feel like if that's what you guys are doing, then that's going to be fucking sick,
Yeah, I mean, going back to your point about screamo music, I used to absolutely hate it, and it was, I always think the best way of kind of being exposed to new bands is seeing them live. I struggle
100%.
myself listening to a new band when I'm just in my room or something. I play them. I'm kind of I've got to keep concentration. But if I'm seeing them live, I'll be like, oh, why did I not listen to them before? I want to know their songs and all that so I can join in. But especially heavier stuff, I appreciate it a lot more live. And I listen to it no problem now. I love playing to it. I love writing stuff. Kind of in the heavier side of things, and it's I got it was, I don't know if you've seen that video on YouTube. It was with that classical singer, singing teacher, and she teaches all these really big metal screamers how to scream. I from then I was mind blown. I was I bring out the argument all the time. It's screamo singing is actually pretty good for you. You can do it properly. If you learn how to do it properly, it doesn't just harm your voice. And when everyone's oh, it just sounds like it hurts and all that. It's no, and I'll just bring out the argument. I'm not losing this. But no, I like love heavy stuff, and I think people if they're exposed to it, if they see it live, I think they appreciate it a lot more than when listening to it, because they obviously see what's going on, and they get a better idea of it. But yeah, just my
Definitely.
opinion of it.
I feel like that's kind of the way things kind of go with that style of music. It's like if you go and see a live band, and you've never if they're playing like more kind of like pop kind of punk stuff where it's more sing alongy and that kind of stuff. If you've not heard that kind of stuff and you don't know the words, it's a little bit hard to kind of feel involved. Whereas like with heavy music and stuff, you don't need to know the words. You can't even understand what the fucking words are, but you can still just get involved in like the pit and jump around. And I feel like when you get that kind of blend of both of them kind of things, when you've got like breakdowns alongside like melodic kind of like choruses, then you can really get like crowds that you see with like crowd surfing and all that kind of stuff, and people jumping right to the front. And what is it, there's like a great movement set that I can't remember where it was, but Connor always puts it on, and you just see like everyone in the crowd singing along, but it's pop punk music, it's sad boy, but you know what I mean. It's good to see that kind of thing going on, and that's what I kind of see you guys doing is having that blend of heavy and soft.
Certainly think there's a new wave coming of bands who combine sort of a lot more elements, like bands like Capstan and Belmont. I can't think of many more off the top. Like Chunk No Captain Chunk kind of did it. Like I think a lot of people kind of see them more as a joke, which I think is like really unfair because like their music is very good. But Capstan and Belmont are maybe doing what they were trying to do and making it a less cheesy or maybe a bit more, rather than just it's heavy because there's a breakdown or something. They're making it more subtle, and I think that sort of thing's like proving really popular. And certainly like ourselves and you guys, like we're hearing this sort of new stuff, and like this is exactly what we want to be doing. We want to be a bit more heavier, and like the music like you guys make as well. Like before we met you, like I wasn't into hardcore, but then when we met the Below Boys, we were like, fuck, this is cool as fuck. Like it's cool to see people doing that to music, and it's like, how do we incorporate that sort of energy rather than how do we make a song heavy? It's like, how do we get that energy into the song? How do we make people want to jump about and fucking not just crowd surf but sing along, but also want to throw fucking hands,
Yeah, I mean, I guess like it was like we've obviously been like by ourselves quite a long time, being the only pop punk band, and then I guess being exposed to all this other heavier stuff. Like we're put on shows with heavy bands all the time, and I guess that like we're not too bothered with it. We love the music anyway, and we kind of want to. We're kind of like, right, we're gonna play heavier than you guys. Like we're gonna go harder, and like people feel the same energy. It was actually, we did a cover of Don't Wait by Neck Deep, and we got, I don't know if you guys know Yang from Atlantic Rift.
Yeah.
He came on and did the Sam Carter part. that was a lot of fun doing that. And yeah, and we've also known the Bitterwood lot for ages. We like, it was like this weird battle of the bands thing in a pub that we played with them once when they weren't even like that heavy. Like they were heavy, but they weren't that heavy. And like Chapel had all these pedals on the floor, like he was some wanky bassist. Yeah, and then we ended up in this other battle of the bands down in Glasgow of all places. Like Glenn came out for a smoke and like kind of looked over. And I was like, I know him from somewhere. And then like, you guys in Glass Monkey? Like, yeah. Like, oh, remember us? They're like, oh shit, yeah. And like ever since then, like we've just kind of like been like supporting each other. And they played our first ever headline show, and that one I was on about, just as a 3-piece, I think, before Liam was in the band. And then like ever since, we've just been supporting each other, and then they've kind of like shot off like as a band themselves, and it's like, but we still have like the banter between us. And like Glenn actually came and played guitar for the last 2 shows we played. We brought out our cover of Sugar by Fall Out Boy, and then he there was a couple times he came on, played guitar, and Yeah, and it was
I
a
didn't
lot
know.
of fun because like it's Glenn is actually a guitarist.
Yeah, I was gonna say I never knew Glenn actually played guitar. I've just always seen him, on the drums.
He's primarily a guitarist, so um he learned drums for Bitterwood, and he's actually yeah he is obviously really good. But no, a couple times he came and played guitar with us, and it was a lot of fun. It's just like mixing all these like pop punk people and GCHC people at the same time.
There's definitely an area for like a some kind of Inverness, Bucky, Aberdeen amalgamation kind of thing coming together. I can see it already, but
Well, funny enough, there was talk a while ago that I was maybe going to play guitar for a little while in Glass Monkey. I don't know how much you want to speak about, but I can't remember why. But there was talk and like I was learning some of the songs and that. But eventually, I think I can't remember. I think you'll know better than me. But it didn't come through. But there was a while I was learning all the songs and that, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be in two bands. What am I gonna do then? Eventually, I did join two bands, but it was a pretty cool time learning all the songs. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, it was a shame it didn't fall through, but it was also kind of good. Jake for his uni, he's doing architecture, so he's meant to be on place. He was meant to be on placement, and we were kind of like, we still want to keep things going. Like you can come back in the band after and that, and he was like, yeah, cool. And then we had it all lined up, and then we kind of kept asking like, are you actually going away, or like, are you going on this placement? And he's like, yeah, and like a long time went past, and it came to about like it was after Christmas, and at this point, I think we kind of decided like because we kind of tried it as a 3-piece if need be, and we kind of managed it. So I think at this point we're kind of like we might be okay, but like we got you there if like we needed to do a couple shows. Anyways, Jake got this placement in Inverurie of all places anyway, so he was like you could still do it, like do band stuff and that after all the hassle. But then I guess Jake's kind of like that. He's a special person, but he has the weirdest thought process ever at the same time.
well, at least it all worked out for the better anyway. I mean,
That's it.
meant that you could go and do other stuff in the heavier kind of side of things, and we've all kind of made these connections because of that, and I just want to see more kind of, like you were saying, having those shows where you're maybe not playing with bands that kind of sound similar to your band, but it allows you to kind of be like, all right, well, look at this crowd, they're liking that kind of stuff, like, and they like this stuff that we did, they like to sing along to us, but they liked moving to them. Maybe we could add some moving stuff, and kind of amplify our show a little bit more. So, and that's what we've kind of learned from playing with bands like yourselves. So it is good kind of having all these kind of friendships that you've made. I can't believe that Glenn was a guitarist. He just doesn't seem
It's crazy. No, because since I have the strap quite low, and I'm really tall, he put on my guitar, and it was like, oh, crabcore. No, I absolutely love making connections. That Fraserburgh show, even though it was weird, it was a lot of fun, and like obviously meeting like you guys in Below the Neck was great. Like the photo we've got after I've got it somewhere, but it's we're all on the steps, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a lot. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And like I'd love to do something like the kind of pop punk, hardcore, metalcore, whatever.
Yeah.
If we managed it, because there's obviously a good few bands in Inverness like that are pop punk, and then
well, there's talk of like Finn kind of had this idea to do a hardcore versus punk night, a hardcore versus pop punk night. Kind of have like and you could almost kind of do like a an Inverness versus Aberdeen kind of night as well. You could almost do it like that. Not that we'd want to be like, oh yeah, no, fuck those guys. Like it's all kind of like a more like a crossover kind of thing, like a TV crossover as opposed to like a battle type
Top
thing.
10 anime crossovers.
Yeah.
the one thing I would say is that you guys at least, you've got a venue that is willing to take all these heavy shows, like Tooth and Claw. Amazing for that. We unfortunately, like, we struggle to get places. I mean, there used to be a time Tunnels would take all these other gigs, and they still do, kind of. Like, we were lucky to get last year our headline show at Tunnels, which was a lot of fun, and like it was up there with one of my favorite shows ever. But yeah, it's Tunnels seem to, they just book indie bands now most of the time. You'd be lucky to see like any other genres playing there, but and it's considering the history it has, like if we we'd get people in for it, like all these other shows, but who knows? Maybe after this, we'll see the light, and we'll get all.
So, I'm not from Aberdeen, so I obviously, you know, I could talk your ears off about Inverness venues, even though there's only fucking one. But so when you say, you know, like due to the history of like Tunnels, you know, like what is that, you know, like pertaining to? Like, was there like a heavy show or something like that, and then they just one heavy show, and then they just fucking never had heavy shows again, or like, what was the deal?
There was, yeah, I don't know how much I can say about it. There was an incident, which I won't. I'll not mention it just now.
Okay. No, if, like I say, I don't know the whole deal. So if there's something that, you know, we can't go into, we won't go into it, you know. But you know, it's just one of those things. We have venues and things that get shut down, and bands that break up for reasons, you know. And you know, there's always something going on behind closed doors. But sometimes it's nice to kind of, you know, be like, well, why is it that they don't play the heavy shows and all that kind of stuff? But
I mean, I think it's most of it is just to do with like the pits and that. But I mean, most of the shows they have now, like with the indie bands, they still go pretty mental with like jumping about and all that, and stand on people's toes or whatnot, whatever they do. But no, it's I get there. I don't see much of a problem having heavy shows. I think they still would let heavier bands play if there was a big push for it. I reckon if there's a big push for it, like the shows could happen again, because there's a massive history. Like Aberdeen used to book so many really good bands. Like there were so many good venues. Downstairs was really good. There used to be a place called Moshulu, which was about 1,000 cap, I think, or something. But there was like so many bands. Like if you look on setlist.fm and just look at all the bands that played there, it's crazy. Like there was Enter Shikari when they first started out. Bring Me the Horizon played Aberdeen. It's quite funny. There's a Bring Me the Horizon set at Drummond's, and it's one of their songs from Count Your Blessings or something. And I just how, like I don't even want to know what that show. I want to know what the show was like, but I can't imagine how crazy it would have been. Like it was. There used to be so many bands that, like, there was Knucklepuck that came up, Story So Far. I think Trophy Eyes played it. I think it played Tunnels. There's all these bands that used to come up and play, and I don't even know what happened. I mean, there's kind of people trying to start it all up again, but I'd like to see it happen, like for our sake anyway, because then we'd get more gigs and
you get more shows. You can actually play venues that are in your town.
It would be a lot of fun.
Just to sort of touch on that a little bit, like I remember going to Aberdeen when I was younger, and like say I saw The Story So Far, saw Set Your Goals, I saw Asking Alexandria, like all in the garage and like Tunnels, and it was like you say. I remember one day seeing the Wake the Dean when it was metal versus pop punk, and that was like what showed me that like fuck, there is actually a scene out here and people want it. And when you think back on it now, there was like 500 people in the tunnel that night, and it was fucking crazy pits, and everyone was going nuts. Like I saw a fucking Hacktivist in there, and then it's like you say, all of a sudden all these shows just stopped, and it was like indie shows and stuff. And it was such a shame, because Aberdeen used to have such a huge gig sort of culture. And I don't know if you remember the name of it slips me now, but pretty much it was in Underground, and they used to like show bands every night. They had Creeper play it once.
Yeah, Crash Live.
That's it,
that was such a surprise to me when Creeper like played Underground. I was like, what the fuck? Like, there's a video of them playing Misery. It was crazy. When was Yeah, because that gig they had Hayworth playing. They had this band called Grader.
Campfires.
Campfires played Grader as well. Because
Mhm.
the funny thing, Grader, they were quite a they were quite a big hardcore band. Um, from back in the day. The guy who did my tattoos, he used to be bassist in them, I think.
Nice.
But they went on tour with Creeper back when they were starting out. Like they were both like pretty much like, I guess, like kings of the scene. But yeah, they were like Grader, their singer. You know this song by Creeper, VCR. The
Yeah.
screamo the screamo bit was done by the singer and Grader. Just a little fun fact. So it's
Ooh.
guy from Aberdeen that did it. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and it's just pretty cool to see all the links there. But no, I mean Crash Live when and then they obviously tried to do it again, but like
We were on that bill.
yeah, you're on that bill. There was the flood, and then what else was there? So there's this. So they've not really had a chance to kind of do it again. I hope they try and do it again because
Same.
like we were meant to be doing another show that night, but we would have come anyway. But
I remember, yeah, because when the gig fell through, we were in Aberdeen anyway. We were like, Euan, go and get us like a 10-minute set in your fucking venue, please. You're like, there's no way we could. It's like, we've got our own gear. We'll fucking just play a 10-minute acoustic set. And you're like, nah, we can't. I'm sorry. And I was like, eh.
Oh man.
it wasn't even our gig. It was
That's right.
yeah, because there was a distance between us. They came and played. It was
That's right.
it was we hadn't actually played it. It was like this tiny pub, but we said we'd do it anyway. But I know it was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, it was yeah. When they said that it was flooded, I was like, what? That's like crazy. Because I think we went afterwards, and it was absolutely fine. Because they had the night out, which was quite annoying.
No.
But yeah, no, I hope they try and do it again because they could easily try and get like some more bands up, like the likes of you guys, and take it from there because it would be a lot of fun. And I know there's people that like the music and could reignite.
So I mean, having seen like these venues around Aberdeen, kind of maybe stepping away from putting on that certain genres of music, certain kind of maybe the heavier side of things that they're stepping away from. Do you think that's maybe kind of caused bands that are starting up in Aberdeen or in that kind of area to maybe be like, what's the fucking point in trying to play in a band? You know, like if you wanted to start a hardcore band in Aberdeen, but you're like, what's the fucking point? Because we're not going to be able to play any shows because we won't. No venue's going to put on a hardcore, band. So do you think that that's maybe kind of had an effect on some of what bands are coming out in the area and maybe influencing the type of music, or do you think people are just kind of being like, nah, fuck it, we'll play what we want to play, and if we don't get any shows, that's just how it's going to be?
I don't know. I mean, personally, I would be encouraging everyone to, if you're starting a band, do whatever the fuck you want. Like,
Yeah.
no one's there to tell you what band you should be and like what's going to get you the most shows or anything. Like I would say to them, do whatever the fuck you want. Record something, put it out there. Maybe someone from London will want you instead. Like you never know.
Yeah.
Like there's loads of stories of people putting out their first EP and a massive band will come along and say, do you want to come on tour with us? And then that's history. Like you saw with Woes. I mean, they put out an EP, got on tour with Neck Deep, and that was them. Changed for like forever. Like it was like they had so many like massive gig spots and support slots. But yeah, I would flag up the guys in GCHC, like Connor Musket, the work they do for like kind of keeping a heavy scene alive is really good. Like I take my hats off to them because if it wasn't for them, like there wouldn't be any heavy bands in Aberdeen. There wouldn't be any heavy shows going on. So like yeah, I take my hats off to them. It might put off people starting the heavier stuff, like because they might not be able to play shows. But I would just say to them, don't be put off by it. Go for it. Because if you don't, then there's not going to be any heavy bands anymore.
Yeah.
If there's more of them, they've got no choice to put on heavy bands. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's what I would say.
So yeah, fucking coming to near the end, but what's kind of next for Glass Monkey? What are you guys gonna be doing during the lockdown, and sort of just a general what's next for Glass Monkey?
That's a very good question. Don't we don't actually know. Like, it's not saying that we've got nothing to do. We've got loads to do. We started writing again. Got very critical with what we were writing. And we're kind of like, we need to rein it back a bit. But we've got a good few songs in the works that we're very happy with. That we're pretty much ready. We didn't have many things planned, luckily, when lockdown got called. We just had a few shows, like we had our England dates, and we also had our headline in Edinburgh, which we'll reschedule them. But other than that, we didn't have much planned. Like, we were just going to be writing anyway. So
Yeah.
Every day in lockdown, I've not really been bored. I've been having to do uni stuff, but I've also like started setting up like a mini home studio crammed in this corner of my room. And since then we got asked to be on this this, I don't know how much I can say. It's this little compilation of like acoustic stuff. So
Nice.
we've actually been kind of between us. We've been working on an acoustic cover of one of the songs off the recent EP, Find Your Bearings, and that'll be out soon. But yeah, it's my first time playing piano on a track.
Wow.
And Scott's going to be playing lead guitar, and then got all the vocals on top. But yeah, my first time playing piano. It's nothing fancy, but it's just like that kind of heartthrob, like MCR stuff. But yeah, no. Other than that, I guess we're just writing. We're seeing what happens after. Like, that will depend on what we actually write. Like what we kind of have at the end of it. We'll see what happens, but we are in a very good position once lockdown's over, to do whatever we want, I guess, with writing.
Yeah.
That's
So, in a good wee spot, to just kind of, when this is over, to just kind of hit the ball, hit the road running kind of thing, and just, I mean, I imagine it's probably hard to get any kind of shows lined up or anything like that when we don't know what's happening. But I mean, like you say, as long as we're all kind of sitting there ready to go for the gigs, can't be any more prepared. So sounds like you guys are doing good. You've got some stuff in the pipeline, and it's good to hear.
I mean, like, compared, like, with, I think every band has got something ready. I'd love to see a massive show with everyone on it, just to kind of like celebrate lockdown being over.
Yeah.
And we can hold hands again and whatnot. But I'd love to see a massive show on after, with everyone kind of taking part. Like, I wouldn't care if we didn't make any money or from it or anything like that. I'd love to just do it for the hell.
We'll do it at Fraser,
19 bands in Balaclava one night only. Shared backline.
Here, Isaac's dad will like open up the harbour or something and put a mobile stage there.
Here, if you want to see that, let us know.
Yeah, everyone start pestering Isaac right now.
He'd probably start doing it now, no doubt.
Fuck yeah. But nah, we'll finish
man.
it up. Thanks for coming on, man. It's been great chatting with you. Jacob's back there now as well.
We're all having problems today.
Yeah,
Woo!
we'll cut it off now while we can before it ends up going.
Thanks for coming on, Euan. Our bands will definitely play together in the future. Make sure you look out for that. Make sure you look out for this new acoustic track that they're dropping, and have a look out for the podcast coming next week with some Fraserborough boys, and that's all you're getting to know just now. You know who it is. Bleach HCP. Enjoy.
Yeah. But no worries, man. Right. That's us again from DeathHammer Podcast. We'll see you next time. Peace out, my dudes.
Peace.